Earthlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. We have made it 600 and beyond. Here we go. Cosmic weather starting things off. Spaceweather.com. Solar wind 399.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is high today. Well, not high, but it's higher than it has been. We're at a 3 to start things off for the week. Expected to be no higher than a 3 in the next 24 hours. Remember, 9 is the highest on the scale. So even though it's quiet, we are making progress or moving upwards along the scale, so things could be a little bit intense. And it's reflected here in the fact that we might have an M-class flare. There's a 50% chance of that. However, a chance of an X-class flare is much lower, only 10% chance. If you do live in the mid-latitudes, 35 to 40% chance of a geomagnetic storm, and just slightly higher if you're in a higher latitude, which means get your cameras ready, folks, because there could be some good auroras. And just like right here, here we go. NOAA forecasters estimate a 30% chance of minor geomagnetic storms February 13th and 14th in response to a possible arrival of a CME that left the sun on the 10th. And here's an old sunspot that has returned. AR 1402, which unleashed an X2 class solar flare on the 27th of January, has returned after a 2-week transit around the far side of the sun. 2 weeks of decay have greatly reduced the old active region. The sunspot group, renumbered AR 1419 for its second apparition, is crackling with B and C class solar flares. These flares are minor compared to the eruptions of January. The return of AR 1402 is mainly significant for nostalgic reasons. Okay. Now, astrologically, main things we're concerned about is what are the elements that we are working with. Well, we are still dealing with the water element for the sun sign. So the sun, which represents our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is dealing with the issues of Aquarius, which are the element of water, change, evolution, emotion certainly goes around with the idea of water. And so we're wrapping these things up consciously as we're going to be moving from Aquarius into the next sign further from there, but that won't be to the end of the week. So let's just stay focused where we're at on the water for the conscious mind and unconscious. We are now here. We have gone from Leo completely into its own sign now, which is Virgo. So we're now in the sign of Virgo. I'm sorry, take that back. We're now in the sign of Scorpio. We just came out of Libra. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about here for a moment. Alright, so yes, we're in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio again is a water sign, so we've got water on the mind today, literally, unconsciously, and consciously. Scorpio is the sign of the scorpion, so you've got that dark scorpion nature, and the reason the scorpion is there is protecting itself from all of the emotions, because with all of the water and the emotions involved, there's protection needed, and that's what happens with the Scorpio energy. So there you have it, our current moon phase. It's making its way down to a new moon, 62% full now, on its way all the way down to no moon at all. That won't be for about another week and a half or so. And on the dream spell calendar, today is the last day of a wave spell, so that's why we have a 13-tone day. Our kin for today, right in the middle, is the warrior. The warrior is with the question mark symbol because the warrior asks questions. And the guide for today, right above it, is the sun, and then the supporting kin around it are the world bridger, the knight, and the serpent. You can see here on the grid here, the matrix that shows the 13th position of a wave spell. Here's the warrior at the very end getting ready to jump off. And then, of course, after we jump to the next phase, the beginning of a new wave spell. And the new wave spell will be the next symbol after this one. So the warrior is the 16th symbol. The 17th one is the earth, the red earth. So we're going to be jumping from the warrior to the earth. Alright, that takes us from today to tomorrow. And once again, every day has a phrase to it. With the dream spell, the phrase is, I endure in order to question, transcending fearlessness. I seal the output of intelligence With the cosmic tone of presence, I am guided by the power of universal fire. All right, there you have it. It's our dream spell for today. And of course, on the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, the 13th of February, 2012. All right, Dirk is with us here today. Has a story about Obama, King Obama, as Dirk likes to refer to him. Let's check it out. Dirk, over to you.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and not only Catholics, but everyone in the entire country should be troubled by the Obama administration's newly announced rule that religious schools, charities, and hospitals' health insurance programs must cover contraceptives. So we take a look at King Obama's attack on religious liberties, not just an issue for Catholics. That is what we have for you, boys and girls. Stay tuned. You really need to know this shit.
And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives?
The decision on how to move forward. Under the rule, women will still have access to free preventive care that includes contraceptive services, no matter where they work. So that core principle remains. But if a woman's employer is a charity or a hospital that has a religious objection to providing contraceptive services as part of their health plan, the insurance company, not the hospital, not the charity, will be required to reach out and offer the woman contraceptive care free of charge, without copays and without hassles. The result will be that religious organizations won't have to pay for these services, and no religious institution.
Opinions on contraception may vary, but the issue is not whether or not one agrees or disagrees with Catholic opposition to contraception. The issue is that the administration has violated the First Amendment guarantee of religious liberty by forcing religiously affiliated organizations to offer contraception as part of their health care plans. The order violates the long-held Catholic teachings against contraception and requires such institutions to ignore their religious beliefs. It's not surprising that the Catholic leaders in the country have stated clear, powerful objections to this overreach by the Obama administration. This is a violation of the First Amendment and freedom of religion, said Father Paul Williams of St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Delton, Georgia, as he told the Times Free Press. It has very little to do with the Church's teachings on contraceptives and has everything to do with the government forcing us to violate our conscience. He is absolutely right, but his concern should be shared by freedom-loving Catholics and non-Catholics alike. Neither should it make any difference whether or not Americans in general happen to believe that health insurance plans ought to include contraception. The Bill of Rights was written to safeguard fundamental freedoms. Those freedoms are not subject to being denied on a presidential whim. Republicans in Congress have denounced the Obama administration's attack on religious liberties, and even some Democrats have objected, calling the administration's decision a direct affront on religious freedoms. If the president will not reverse course, Congress should take action. Well, I see the fat lady is getting off the stage. She's looking right at me. I've got to take her home and put her to bed. I hate goodbyes, so instead I'm going to say, until we meet again. I'm Dirk Bradshaw from the Cosmic News Network. I return you now to Joshua Poet and First Contact. They're all yours, Josh.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO News for today. Several stories. First story comes to us from Tracy Pierce over at theexaminer.com. Diamond-shaped UFO spotted in the skies above Turkey. A diamond-shaped UFO was spotted over the country of Turkey yesterday. The identified flying object was recorded on video. The UFO video is grainy and poor quality, but it does show a strange anomaly growing in the darkness. Latest UFO sightings reported the unidentified flying object was recorded in the sky above Antalya, the city of the Mediterranean coast of southwestern Turkey, on Saturday the 11th of February. The UFO seemed to be shaped like a diamond or arrowhead. It appeared green in color on the video, but isn't clear whether that was the actual color. The low-quality video itself may be to blame for the UFO's green appearance. Let's take a look at it. See what we think of this. Alright, this is a long video. Of course, we're not going to watch the whole thing because it is 8 minutes in length, but there we go. Look at that. Interesting indeed. Alright, he kind of has like a triangle kind of shape going on in the top part, don't you see? Interesting. Alright. Leave that up there for you to watch to see what you think of that. Moving right along, our next story comes to us from latest UFO sightings.net. TR-3B caught on tape over Oregon on the 6th. Let's find out. Witness report, although the video is not as smooth as the filming sequence as compared to past videos because of the excitement, nonetheless, this UFO flyover is exceptional after weeks of few displays. There's a heavy cloud cover tonight, but in one location above there is a wide gap of open clear sky. I was about to continue on the normal sighting spot, but took another few seconds to peer into the opening, and that's when the object moved into view. The gear was quickly unpacked, and the cam was powered up as the same object came overhead. It moves left, right, and appears to slow to speed before it moves out of view. Let's take a look at this. See what's going on here. Alright. There you go. That's pretty interesting. That's definitely kind of ship. We've seen things like this before of a triangle type nature. Okay. You can check the rest of that video out. It's on our link at UFO News. This is a UFO over a power plant in Russia on the 8th of the month, just a couple days ago. Alright, there's the power plant. There we go, right above it. Can't really miss that one up in the sky. There's, oh, look at that, we got two of them now. Two UFOs over the power plant. Let's move along, see if we get any more than two. Nope, now it's back down to one. And two again. Alright, very good. UFO over Russia power plant. Next story comes to us from Greece. You can see here in the cloud what we're going to be looking at. We've got three in the cloud right here. A little bit more of a closer view of it. UFO sighting was taken 1 mile from the shore in a passenger boat near one of the main islands of Greece. Alright, let's check out what we got here. Now, we know what we're looking for because we already saw the image there, so alright, there we go. It's very hard to see right now because I don't have this zoomed out, but very good. Alright, you can check it out, but this is what we're going to be seeing there when you look at it closer. Give it a good examination. Now here, this one definitely is for you to examine. See what you think of this one here, whether this is real or not. This one here. Strange craft was seen over the mountains of Peru this month and actually is visible close up. Lots of UFOs have been seen over this area in the last 12 months, so don't disregard this one so quickly just because it's clear. The area is flooded with tourists daily, so there should be more videos or reports of the UFOs coming this week. Alright, so you need to decide on what you think this one is. This one a fake? If you go to the YouTube page where the video is, it definitely talks about it. The possibility of being a fake here. But Not quite getting it to play at this moment. This is what the video... Oh, here we go. Alright, this is the object in question. It is pretty fantastic looking, and it's very clear, which is why others are saying this is a possibility of a fake, because it is so clear, but not necessarily. You know, just because it's a good clear picture doesn't mean it has to be a fake. It's definitely an interesting object. It looks like two craft seem to be docked to this object here. That's what it appears to be. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Alright, so give that a good look with your skeptical eyes and see if what you think. See if this is real or if this is a fake. You know, it's always good to be skeptical about these kind of things because a lot of people are putting out fakes, and we want to make sure. Alright, this last story today, also from Scott Waring Blogspot, is alien skull found in Peru with 20-inch body. 2012 Peru news and video. The existence of aliens could possibly explain by the latest discovery of mummified elongated skull in Peru. Although its remains found, the discoverer managed to measure the strange creature. It has 20-inch tall body with head almost measures the same as the body. The remains were discovered in Anomalies in the south province of Quinspianchi by Ronaldo Davila Riquelme, who is connected with Privado Ritos Anitos Museum in Cusco, Los Cayos, in southeastern Peru. The skull has soft spot, which is normally found in children in the first year of life, but it also has two big molars, which are common in adult human beings. Davila Riquelme said that the three anthropologists from Russia and Spain also suggested that the creature is not a human being upon seeing the remains, but they said further study must be conducted to concrete and precise analysis. The genetic DNA will be examined through the remains of an eyeball in the right socket. The examination will clear things up if the creature is human or not. And let me see if I can, with this video. Alright, here's a good look at the objects in question. Alright, so again, this video is available so you can investigate a little bit, see what you think, if this video is real, if that's a real human skull or what it is. Alright, there you have it. That's our UFO news for today. I'm going to jump away to a song. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, good old King Obama, huh? Him and his rules. So, what would happen if Obama decided that the Catholics should be eating meat on Fridays, or perhaps that the Jews should be eating pork? What if he comes out with a proclamation that this needs to happen? Do you think that they will comply? Or do you think people will stand up and say enough is enough? I mean, Obama's in office and he keeps doing all kind of things that are out of character with a president of the United States. But it's not surprising because he's been proven that he's not from the United States of America. But most Americans are still asleep to this fact. You know. People listening to this show know. People you've talked to probably know. But there's still a lot of people asleep out there that don't really understand what's going on, and they're surprised when Obama makes these kind of decisions. Just like they're surprised or they'll justify when Obama has declared that there's 57 states. 57, Obama, really? Not in this country. Maybe in another country, but not here in the good old US of A. All right, let's take a look here at what is going on in the world of politics today. Starting off, we know the Maine caucuses were this last weekend. Well, Paul campaign points. Oh wait, we've got one story first. Google accidentally releases the final Maine caucus results a day early. Oh no, not Google. Google's not involved with all of this, are they? Alright, once again, an established media source has mistakenly released the final results of a state caucus too early, this time prior to the Maine caucus. As Americans geared up for Saturday's Maine caucus, finally, Friday evening witnessed another major media mishap as AP and Google teamed up in a preparation for the tallying of votes by Maine caucus goers and produced final results more than 24 hours in advance of possibly knowing how the result would turn out. Americans who have been closely watching the heavily contested 2012 race for the GOP presidential nomination are largely aware of the many major problems this election season has had thus far and are catching anomalies and impossibilities like never before. Last week it was Newsmax in association with AP accidentally releasing the results of the Nevada caucus around 48 hours early, something many in America found extremely unnerving. As more and more states continue to show verifiable and rampant voter fraud, it's happened once again. With so many problems emerging in this election season, people are becoming very weary and concerned with the legitimacy of the season's nomination process, as most establishment-based TV, radio, and print news outlets are openly doing everything in their power to marginalize the ultimate success of the Ron Paul campaign, forcing many to do everything they can to keep a very close eye on caucus and primary election results. Not surprisingly, as Americans continue to find extreme oddities and evidence of establishment shenanigans, people are being forced to watch even more closely, doing everything in their power to curtail the level of corruption coming out of Washington and the state GOP party leaders as these elections unfold. Although Google reset their totals back to zero sometime early this morning, WatchTheVote2012.com has been keeping an eye on the actual results. Those can be found by clicking here. So, maybe when Eric Schmidt was seen at the Bilderberg meeting, maybe that should have clued in a lot of people that Google was no longer playing on the side of the people, but for the establishment. Should have been a clue for those who've been paying attention. You already know and shouldn't be surprised by this. But for those who this is brand new, well, it's got to be a shock to your system to suddenly realize that old Google is not really out for your best interest either. Now, moving right along here, Paul campaign points to anomalies in the Romney Maine victory. So far every caucus It seems that there's voter fraud going on. I mean, we live in a country of such great integrity that we can't even get through a caucus or a primary voting season without there being any corruption. And these are the people that are involved. What's wrong with the people of this country? Why are they doing this? He slams mainstream media, suggests Romney may have had a hand in canceling key county caucuses. The Ron Paul 2012 campaign has pointed to anomalies in Saturday's announcement of the Maine Caucus results, as Mitt Romney was declared the winner with Paul in second by the slimmest of margins. The official tally in Maine has 84% of the votes counted so far. 84. Romney took close to 39% of that vote. Paul, 36, trailing by just 194 votes. In an email to supporters on Saturday evening, Paul campaign manager John Tate hit out at the mainstream media for calling a Romney victory before all the votes had been tallied, suggesting that the establishment is acting to prevent any potential surge or momentum gain for Paul. The national political establishment and their pals in the national media will do anything to silence our message of liberty, Tate stated. Tonight, you saw dueling examples of how the establishment is scared of Ron Paul and his message of liberty, Tate wrote. The truth is, Ron Paul will win the most delegates out of Maine tonight, he added. In fact, he will probably even win the beauty contest straw poll the media has already called for Mitt Romney, even before all the votes have been tallied, Mr. Tate argued. Tate explained that in Washington County, where Ron Paul was incredibly strong, the caucus was delayed until next week, just so the votes wouldn't be reported by the national media today. Of course, their excuse for delay was snow. That's right, a prediction of 3 to 4 inches that turned into nothing more than a dusting was enough for the local GOP official to postpone the caucuses so the results wouldn't be reported tonight. In fact, if you were watching one major network, they cut off the telecast of Ron Paul's speech right when he began mentioning this fact. Tate exclaimed, referring to the fact that MSNBC cut away from Paul's 20-minute speech just after 4 minutes when he began revealing what was really behind the media curtain. This is Maine we're talking about. John Tate's email concluded, the Girl Scouts had an event today in Washington County that wasn't canceled, and just the votes of Washington County would have been enough to put us over the top. This is an outrage. The truth is, there is no length to which the GOP establishment won't go. There is nothing the mainstream media won't do, Tate added. Paul campaign chairman Jesse Benton told Politico that the Romney campaign may have been involved in the cancellation of Washington's county caucuses. It's not completely insidious, but they knew they were going to swamp it up there, said Benton. Congressman Paul himself commented on the situation on the CBS Face the Nation. He said, we're a bit disappointed last night, Paul said, but we're disappointed that one county where we have done the best in the past and we were expected to do the best, well, they canceled their caucus. We're going to continue to do what we do and do the very best and keep accumulating delegates, Paul added. So, when you live in a world where cheating seems to be the norm, how are we expected to have a society that's filled with people of integrity? It just doesn't make sense in my book. I don't know. Maybe you can make some sense of it, but lying, cheating, stealing never seems to get any place that is truly worthwhile. All right, next one up, I'm going to play this piece here. This was Ron Paul's speech after the Maine results, and he did pretty good. He got 36%. Let's hear what Ron Paul has to say here.
Caucuses, Ron Paul 36%, 2,190 votes for Mitt Romney to 1,996 for Ron Paul. That's a difference of only 194, and I'm sure a lot of the Ron Paul supporters are saying to themselves, if only they had worked a little bit harder, maybe they could have changed the result and created the first win for Ron Paul in this presidential nomination process. Ron Paul is walking out. He's going to be speaking right now. I hope they... whoever's holding up that Ron Paul sign drops it so we can see Ron Paul. But let's listen into Ron Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Just remember, the revolution is only beginning. We have a ways to go. But I do want to recognize the staff and all of you, all the volunteers, and all the work's been done. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much. It encourages me because it's an important issue. Thank you. But, you know, I have one slightly discouraging announcement. I wished all the caucus had met today. Because I was disappointed. There was one caucus that I think we would have done very, very well. But we lost by, I guess, almost 200 votes, 190 votes. It's almost like we could call it a tie. But anyway, the votes will be counted. All the caucuses will meet. But I do want to make a prediction. If I were a betting man, and I do not have $10,000 to bet, if I were a betting man, I would bet that we will control the Maine Caucus when we go to Tampa. It would have been great to win outright the straw vote, but it'll even be greater to win the delegate vote. No, and that's going to happen. The momentum is going to continue. We're not going away. We're going to be in all these places where we're going to continue to pick up the delegates for one good reason. We have the message that America needs at this particular time. And the wonderful thing is the message is not complex. Everybody understands it. And the message is liberty. That is the message. That means we want our freedom. We want each and every individual to have their freedom, not because they belong to a group, not because they belong to one state or another. It's because we are individuals, that we are born with our freedom, and we have a natural right to our liberties. It's a God-given right. And it follows that if you have a right to your life, you have a right to your liberty to run your life as you choose in both a social and economic means. And if that is the case, the goal that we have is for all of us to be able to keep the fruits of our labor. Now, this is not a brand new concept. It's an American concept. We tried it. It was working very well, and unfortunately, many, many decades ago, we started slipping away and took it for granted. We turned into a society that thought only that you redistributed wealth both by force and coercion and lobbying, and we forgot about what brought about prosperity and production. And it's only free people that can do that. The understanding of property rights, the understanding of contract rights, and one important issue for prosperity to thrive, you have to have an honest monetary system. And if we don't do it, they'll do it to themselves because it's non-viable. They cannot persist because the funny money system, the fiat system, the paper money system makes no sense whatsoever and is coming to an end. It always bothered me that we who believe in liberty never did a very good job in selling it, especially when we were free and when we were prosperous and consuming our wealth. But we shouldn't ever lose this because it is now that we have to grab the moral high ground. For too long, those who wanted to take your wealth and give it to somebody else or get involved in your social life and tell you how to live and also to get involved in other countries that we shouldn't be involved. That's coming to an end. The country is bankrupt, and the most important thing the American people do right now is admit the truth. We cannot deny the truth, and the truth is that we can't continue this way. We have to either go in a desperately wrong direction as we have been, or we have to stop the nonsense, look to our traditions, and not go backwards and act as we did 200 years ago, but pick up on that, because freedom was never perfect. Freedom has been developed over many, many centuries. It's sad to me when I see some of the fundamentals that have been recognized at the time of the Magna Carta in 1215, that all of a sudden we're in this country now undermining some of those basic principles. So we have a desperate struggle now to reassert ourselves and say liberty is what we want. We know what it's all about. We've had it, and we've gotten careless, and it's drifted away. So now the country is waking up. The country is waking up for financial reasons. Everybody knows we're bankrupt. I mean, the social programs can't be financed. The world is involved in this. It's a dollar fiat standard that engulfs the world. You think we're in this together by ourselves? No. Just look at Europe, the mess they have. They're rioting over in Greece because they say they have to cut a little bit. So what is the plan? Bernanke's over there planning to bail them out with our dollars. The debt, when it gets this big, should be liquidated. It shouldn't be dumped on the people. And that is what we have been doing for these last 3 or 4 years. It needs to stop. But we need to ask really a very basic question. What should the role of government be? That's the question the founders of this country and those who led the revolution asked. What should the role of government? And they didn't like the role the king had. The fortunate part about our revolution, it was one of the very, very rare times that a revolution, an overthrow of a government, actually delivered more freedom to the people than they had before the revolution. Look at the revolutions going on around the world today that we're very much involved in. Unfortunately, they're ending up even with less. As bad as their governments were, just think of what's happening today. So we had more liberty, not less liberty, and we need to build on that and understand how important it is. But the role of government should be no more complicated than guaranteeing the right to your life and the right to your liberty. What does that mean? It means the government should be out of the economy. Oh, they say there's no regulations. Yes, you have the regulations of property rights. You have the regulations of market, the regulations of contracts, the regulations of sound money, the regulations of bankruptcy, the regulations of don't bail out anybody that, you know, that comes to the government for bailouts. Those are regulations that are truly free market oriented. But it also means that the government ought to be out of our social lives and the way we run our lives. For too long, we've taken liberty and chopped it into two pieces. Oh, social liberty and personal liberty and religious liberty. Some people defend that, and others have economic liberty. It's one and the same because it's individual liberty, and we have a right to our life and the right to our conscience. But if our goal is peace and prosperity, of course, we have to have the property rights, we have to have the sound money, we have to have limited government and restraints. But we also have to have a different foreign policy. We have a foreign policy that is deeply flawed, and is the foreign policy that always brings great nations down, and nations that overextend themselves. Even in our history, recent history, what brought the Soviets down? When the Soviets came, you know, I was drafted in the 60s. They had 30,000 nuclear missiles, and we didn't have to fight them, thank goodness. But they collapsed because of their deeply flawed economic policy and their foreign policy of overextending themselves. And we're doing the very same thing. People would like us to think so often in debates, they say, tonight we're going to talk about foreign policy. The other night, we're going to be talking about economic policy. How can you talk about economic policy without dealing with all the spending overseas? That is why we need our troops to come home. We need a policy which is constitutional. The founders gave us good guidelines. They said, shouldn't go to war unless you declare it. We have a responsibility for a strong national defense. But today, our presidents don't come to the Congress and to the people and say, declare the war or not declare the war. They just go to war. Sometimes they consult. Sometimes they don't even consult with the Congress. But they're always overly willing to consult with NATO and take their marching orders from the UN. That's wrong. So therefore, a foreign policy of non-intervention, minding our own business, stay out of policing the world and stay out of nation building. That is the road to peace and prosperity. That is what we have to go for. Under the circumstances that we live today, where we allow our government to grow so big, governments cannot grow unless they undermine personal liberty. Every time government writes another rule or regulations, no matter how it comes about, it undermines our personal liberty. But it does it in an even more sinister way, because when people get frightened either about foreign policy issues or they get frightened about economic issues, they think, I'm frightened, the government is supposed to take care of me, and I'm entitled to it, so I have a right to this. And they're so willing to give up their freedoms. And we were warned so clearly that you can't be safer by giving up your liberties. We never should have to give up our liberties in order to pretend that we might be a little safer.
Ron Paul getting ready to wrap up his remarks. We're going to be speaking with him shortly as well. He did well today, but he did not win.
All right. We'll leave Wolf Blitzer to talk with himself there. All right. So Ron Paul's doing pretty good. Let's just keep seeing what's going on, and hopefully a little more fairness will come into things. Now, here's an article. It comes to us from Washington's blog. I'm going to have to open this up a little wider here. All right. Apparently, we're all supposed to now be spying on each other. See Something, Say Something campaign could allow people to label any American a suspected terrorist, just like in Nazi Germany or Stasi East Germany. So these are a list of actions or beliefs which may get you labeled a terrorist. Grows daily. Every American could literally be labeled a suspected terrorist under current government criteria. Specifically, the following actions may get a U.S. citizen labeled as a suspected terrorist today. Here we go. Speaking out against government policies. Well, we don't do that on this show, so I think we're okay there. Protesting anything. No, we've never been out for this. Okay. Questioning war. Criticizing the government's targeting of innocent civilians with drones. Asking questions about pollution. Paying cash at an internet cafe. Asking questions about Wall Street shenanigans. Holding gold. Creating alternative currencies. Stocking up more than 7 days of food. Investigating factory farming. Infringing a copyright. Taking pictures or videos. Holding the following beliefs may also be considered grounds for suspected terrorism. Valuing online privacy. Supporting Ron Paul or being a libertarian. Liking the Founding Fathers. Being a Christian. Being anti-tax, anti-regulation, or for the gold standard. Being reverent of individual liberty. Being anti-nuclear. If you believe in conspiracy theories. If a belief that one's personal and or rational way of life is under attack. Impose strict religious tenets or laws on society. Insert religion into the political sphere. Those who seek to politicize religion. Supported political movements for autonomy. Being anti-abortion. Being anti-Catholic. Being anti-global. Suspicious of centralized federal authority. Fiercely nationalistic, as opposed to universal in intentional orientation, or a belief in the need to be prepared for an attack by either participating in survivalism. See something, act like a snitch in Nazi Germany, Stasi Germany, or Iraq. I initially thought that Paul Joseph Watson was overacting when he claimed that Homeland Security video paints the following activities as signs of potential terrorism. Opposing surveillance, talking to police officers, wearing a hoodie, driving a van, writing on a piece of paper. But Watson makes a brilliant point about Homeland Security, Say Something, See Something campaign, and how accusations of terrorism actually spread. As Robert Galately of Florida State University was highlighted, Germans under Hitler denounced their neighbors and friends not because they genuinely believed them to be a security threat, but because they expected to selfishly benefit from doing so, both financially, socially, and psychologically, via a Pavlovian need to be rewarded by their masters for their obedience. Well, I'm going to let you read this article. You can go on and continue. That's where I'm going to stop. Folks, here's the thing. They want you to snitch. They want you to snitch on your neighbor. Anybody who's talking about freedoms. You just heard the list I read. That includes a lot of things. That includes you, me, your friends, your relatives, anybody who does not agree with what's going on. You see, they want to make it that if you don't agree with the way that they're doing things, that you are considered to be a terrorist. Well, I contend that the terrorist is in Washington, D.C. His name is Barack Obama. Barack Obama should be arrested and thrown in jail. He should not be running around as president making such laws. He's a dictator, and he needs to be out of office. And I don't care what any kind of actors, what was his name? Now I'm having a mind blank here. The actor over the course of the weekend, he thinks he's still in Pulp Fiction, addressing the president with ways that he needs to be tougher. This isn't Pulp Fiction. This isn't a movie. This is real life. I know we have Wag the Dog going on out there in the world, but you know, let's not throw ignorant comments out into the world. It's not really helpful, you know. Not really helpful. All right. Here we go. Doomsday report. 3 million preppers in America are getting ready for the end of the world. In the autumn of 2008, as President Hopeful spared over whether they had entered a recession or not, and well before the onset of the major serious global crisis since the 30s, Trends forecaster Gerald Celente advised the Trends Journal subscribers to prepare for the worst and plan for the best. It will be, warned Celente, like nothing ever seen in our lifetime. The aware and prepared, those understanding of just how out of control society would become, and those who have acquired the skills for survival would stand the best chance of navigating the chaos safely. But Americans were not prepared, not by a long shot. Well, Americans, you've been told for a long time to be prepared for something. A lot of you just still have your head in the sand. I don't know why, but you do. So all I could say is be prepared to be like a deer in the headlight. Be prepared to be caught off guard and not know what's going on. And that way you can really put yourself in the role of being a victim. Because if you're out there and you're not preparing in some way or another, or if you're in denial, it's because psychologically you like being a victim. So this is the perfect scenario for you to be a victim. All you have to do is just keep your head in the sand. And if you do so, you're guaranteed to not know what's going on. And that way you can feel like a victim. And you can feel good about that. You know, there's reports that they had that new show, Doomsday Preppers, that's on. Well, there was a gentleman that was on there, and he had a big supply of stuff. He's talking about what he had. Do you know after the show ended, after his show was aired, they went confiscated his guns and put him in a institution? So, is this what they want to do? Anybody who's prepared? Because that's his list was like what I just read. So, that could be you too. That could be you too. Paying attention, folks. Got to pay attention. Now, this is what Obama wants to do if he gets in office. The NRA official claims Obama plans to outlaw all guns during his second term. A top NRA official has gone on the record with the belief that if Obama is elected for a second term, he plans to effectively end the Second Amendment with all-out ban on guns. NRA executives Vice President Wayne LaPierre said Obama's first-term low-key approach on gun rights was a conspiracy to ensure re-election for a second term, where he plans a full destruction of America's Second Amendment rights. So I'm going to leave this article to you. Basically, Obama wants to do away with your guns. Now, I know a lot of people voted for Obama because of the color of his skin. So the question is, are those same individuals that voted for him that happen to be gun owners, which one are you going to stand by more? Are you going to stand by your vote and stand by the office, the president who's in the office, and vote for him because of the color of his skin? Or are you going to stand for the gun rights because the man in office, despite what color he is, wants to take away your rights? There's a lot of Americans who believe that by taking away the rights of the Second Amendment and taking away the guns, you make yourself more susceptible to New World Order just walking right over you. And that's exactly the case. That's why the Founding Fathers wanted Americans to be armed, to prepare themselves and be ready in case the government goes rogue like they're going right now, so that you can stand up and protect yourself. So it's very important. It's very important to pay attention. So Democrats, I think if you voted for Obama and you're thinking of voting for him again and you happen to be a gun owner, you need to think twice about what you're going to do. Because you may vote for him and you may put him back in office and may be a win for the Democrat. But if he takes away your gun and you're a gun-owning Democrat, Well, you may be a Democrat without a gun anymore, and how is that going to feel to you? Are you going to be glad that you no longer have Second Amendment rights? Will you be happy that you used your vote on Obama so he could do that? Well, you better think twice, and you better read a little bit of what's going on, because that's what he wants to do. Take your gun rights away so they can roll right over you. Now, here is a very hypocritical article. Obama campaign launches truth teams. Now, really, Obama and truth, these two words don't even belong in the same sentence. But nonetheless, here we go. The Obama campaign is beginning an effort to enlist and educate at least 2 million supporters for a grassroots communications team they call the Truth Team. So we have the Obama campaign, who is headed by a guy who wasn't born in America, who has spent time lying to the Americans who he really is, and spent millions of dollars to cover up his background. He started a truth team because he is such a truthful man. Now, the goal of Obama's truth team is to ensure that when the Republicans attack the President Obama's record, grassroots supporters of the liar can then take ownership of the campaign and share the facts and with the undecided voters in their lives, the campaign said in a statement. The teams will first be launched in 13 swing states, including Iowa, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Mexico, North Carolina, Washington, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Maine, Nevada, Ohio, and Virginia. The rollout also includes a social media network blitz, directing supporters to 3 new websites: keepinghisword.com, which highlights Obama's record and promises kept. Can't be a very big website. GOPHonest.com, which highlights GOP policy positions, and AttackWatch.com, which fact-checks claim made against Obama and the campaign trails. If the other guys are going to run a campaign based on misrepresenting the president's record and their own, well, they have 2 options: sit back and let these lies go unchallenged, or fight back with the truth. Deputy Obama campaign manager Stephanie Cutler said in an email, "We're fighting back." Just like Obama fought back when he had that subpoena. That's right, Obama got subpoenaed to court. You know how he fought back? Didn't even show up. That's right. Now, the Secretary of the State, he got all puffed up and high and mighty, and he said if Obama didn't show up, it was going to be at Obama's own peril. And Obama didn't show up, and boy, that Secretary of the State certainly stood behind his words. His cojones went from being super big to, well, apparently non-existent, because Obama just didn't show up and didn't care and didn't do anything. And I guess the Secretary of State can't do anything but keep his mouth shut now. Oh, politics, my friends. Politics is crazy. They lie to you, and then they try to tell you that they're telling the truth. And those who believe it, well, it just seems like people should know better, don't you think? I mean, don't people know the difference between lies and truth in the world where you live, around you? I mean, what happens? Do your neighbors know that there's truth and lies in the world, or does everybody just think that the presidents go in and they run the country and they tell the truth with everything they say? I don't know. It's just really bizarre. I don't understand Earthlings. I don't understand the motivations. I don't understand the way the thinking process goes sometimes. I just don't understand how all of the accepting of the lies goes on. But hey, if that's what Earthlings want to do, believe the lies, I guess who am I to get in the way of your happiness and believing the lies? All right, very last thing today is our meditation. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and close your eyes and relax. All right. Let's imagine at the beginning of this week, as we are now, let's imagine that we are standing in the back of a long line. Standing in the back of a long line, waiting for our chance to get up to the front. We're not quite certain what is being handed out, but we know it must be important if all these people are standing here. So one by one, we move closer to the front of the line, till finally it is our turn to get there. And we get there, and we hold out our hands. and magically appearing in your hands is exactly what you need to fix the problems in your life today. And the purpose of this line was to find a solution to the problems in your life. And the reason there are so many individuals in the line is because the world is filled with people every day that are looking for solutions to their problems. So by everybody standing in line, by everybody making a concerted effort, problems can get solved. As everybody works to solve their own problems, the much bigger universal problems also become solved. As all the small lights turn on and darkness dissipates, everything gets brighter, because each individual light of each individual being, combined with all of the other individual lights, make up one great bright light. And as everyone stands in the light of clarity and truth, the light of love and protection, doubts dissipate, fears dissipate, and all possibilities exist. So imagine all of our chakras are activated, starting with the chakra at the bottom of the spine. The color is red. Bring the energy up from the bottom chakra, red, to the one above that. The color is orange. From the orange color chakra, bring the energy up to the chakra above it, just below the rib cage, and the color is yellow. And from the yellow chakra, bring the energy up higher to the heart chakra. Imagine the color green. From the green heart chakra, bring the energy up to the throat. Imagine the color blue. From there, the energy goes up between the two eyebrows to the third eye. Imagine the color violet. And there to the crown chakra, indigo, continuing on up into the cosmos, bright white light. We are connected above and below. Just take a moment to honor your connection. And as you do, let's send peace and love all around the world. Good thoughts for everybody. And we'll bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. And there you have it. Another show, prayer, meditation. We've made it through. Thanks for being here. I'll be back again tomorrow with more news and information. And we'll keep on rolling. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Be safe.